Hi, welcome back to this series of tutorial on version 1. We are in tutorial number 8. This is one tutorial, this is one topic on which I get a lot of questions on. In this, I'll be showing how to add a custom backlog item. I will show how to add a custom task as well. We will see how we can use custom tasks and track impediments in a sprint. We can also handle impediment by creating an issue. I will show both the ways of handling impediments. So let's get started. Click on the list type. Let me zoom. Click on the configuration button, the star button, and click on list types. Under list types, you have this menu item known as backlog. As you can see, currently it has two types, new features and enhancements. It has new feature and enhancements. These are by default. Click on add. Give the necessary details for the title and the description and click save. Here I am creating a new issue type known as spike. I have given the description over here and click on save. The custom backlog item we just created by name spike is available here. Now we will add a new backlog item type as spike. Go back to this particular view. Click on add backlog item. Click on add backlog item. As you can see, spike is available as an option under the type now. The same can be updated for the existing product backlog items in the grid view. You can go and edit a particular backlog item and change it to spike. Now let me explain how to add a custom task. Let me differentiate what a backlog item is and what a task is. The backlog item is a parent. I call it as a what aspect of the requirement. And a task is the how. How are we going to achieve the what's? A task is technical in nature. It can be a excuse me. It can be a task to write a stored procedure, execute a test, anything that requires to be done to achieve the what. That is a task. We'll add a custom task. Click on the configuration star icon. Click on list types. Under the list types, click on task. These are the existing tasks that are available as of now. Design code. Click on add. You are presented with this pop-up. I'm adding a new task by name testing. You can choose an appropriate color for this particular task as well. Click on save or save and new as the case may be. I'm adding one more task. The title itself is task. This is just a generic task which we'll have to accomplish, which we'll have to do to accomplish the what. I have added impact analysis as well, along with the testing and the other one, which is the generic task. This is how the list looks like once we have created all of them. Initially we had these three which we by default, and I have added these three custom tasks. Here in the sprint summary view, we can assign the relevant task to a particular type. We can edit it. The ones that we added right now is available here: testing, a generic task, and impact analysis. We can edit as the case may be. Now let's see how we can handle impediments in version 1. I have figured out that there are two ways of handling impediments in version 1. I will show both. One is by creating a task as impediment itself. You can create a task impediment under a story as a placeholder so as to track the impediment of the story to the closure. The second one is by creating an issue. First, I will show how to handle an impediment as a task. Click on add and add a new task type. I'm adding a new task type by name impediment itself. The name of the task itself is an impediment. It is not something to do, it is just a placeholder. Here I've chosen a white background just to differentiate. Moving further, let us assume there's an impediment on this particular story. We have user story 1. During the execution of the sprint, we find that we have got an impediment on user story 1. You use the drop down and click on add task. Now here you give a summary of the impediment and you choose the type as impediment. This is a type. You choose the type as impediment rather than whether it is a code, testing, or impact analysis task. The type itself is impediment. And you describe the impediment over here and click on save. Now the same reflects on the task board. We saw what the task board is in the earlier tutorial. The same reflects the impediment that we just created reflects on the task board. As you can see, the background of that is white in color. That is what I chose, which I configured. Now, this impediment can be discussed in the daily stand-up. In the daily stand-up, we can use this particular task board to conduct our daily stand-up, and it becomes very apparent that there is a impediment on a story and we need to talk about it. This impediment can also be moved to in progress and completed when the impediment is resolved. The other way to handle an impediment is by creating an issue. Use this plus mark and add a new asset, the plus symbol, and then click on, and then on the sidebar which opens up, add an issue. choose the particular planning level. Choose the particular planning level. There's an impediment that is there on the team of lions, and the type itself is impediment. Click on save. Now, under team in the detail tracking page in this grid view, pull the drop down under the story under which you want to raise the impediment. In this grid view, let's assume that you want to raise an impediment under this particular story, user story 1. You choose the particular arrow mark and click on block. You can block it with an existing issue as shown. We just created an issue. You can block it with an existing issue. You can even create a new issue to block the story from here itself, rather than clicking on the plus mark as shown in the previous slide. You can directly create a new issue from here itself. When you choose the option to block with an existing one, we get this pop-up. And searching in the text box gives you the list of issues which you can assign to the story by clicking on assign. The issue we just created by clicking on the plus mark is appearing here. Choose that one and click assign. On refreshing the page, we see a red exclamation mark against the story as shown. You can see a red exclamation mark against a particular story. Clicking on the exclamation mark, you get this particular pop-up with the issue which is blocking the story. Let us assume that there is one more impediment on the same story. You can create a new one from here itself. You can even close the impediment over here. If the impediment is resolved, you can close it from here itself. In case you clicked on a new issue, you will be presented with this screen wherein you can fill up the details on this pop-up and create a new impediment. You give the details of the impediment and you can click save. Under the team, now, if you go to the task board, you see that there's a red mark at the corner of the story. You see that there's a particular red mark at the corner over here. And mousing over at, it shows that this particular story is blocked by 2 issues. Clicking on this exclamation mark, it pops up the issues which are, clicking on this particular exclamation mark, it pops up this particular window which shows the issues which are blocking this particular story. You can even go to the reports and run a report on issue trend. You can go to the reports and run a report on issue trend as well. Well, my personal preference is to use the second approach by creating an issue which is much more cleaner. However, it is left to the preference of the team and the user as to how he or she wants to take it along. Well, this brings us to the end of tutorial number 8. Please join me in tutorial number 9. It will be a very interesting one where I will show creation of a new team, assign stories to the team, show about the team room, add new members to the team, create member groups, add members to the group as well. We'll do capacity planning for the team members and validate it against the amount of work that they have planned themselves for. I will show how to activate a sprint and show how to log efforts. We will even close the sprint and do retrospectives. Finally, to end tutorial number 9, which will be the last in the series, I will show the power of reports again that we can leverage on the various views.
Thanks for joining.
See you in tutorial number 9.